All right, good afternoon to you, and welcome to the Power Hour with Dave Kaufman. And the reason I'm calling it Power Hour is because the name of my company is Empowering Small Business, and that's what I want to, do with my line of work is to empower small business owners to be who they were meant to be from a biblical perspective, from a godly perspective, but also from a relational and a leadership perspective. And so the Power Hour is brought to you by Empowering Small Business, and it's every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Thank you guys for joining me so much on the phone lines, the Zoom platform, and also the three different Facebook platforms that are on right now. So thank you for following me and giving me this opportunity. Today, I'm going to be sharing something that has been transformative to me, something that one of my mentors showed me many years ago, and it's called the 4 levels of value. And I got this from Dr. Myron Golden, who we've done a lot of stuff together. We've spoken together. We've done mastermind events together. Myron has taught me a lot when it comes to leadership and life, and just life in general and business. He's a great mentor. But the 4 levels of value, and every human being has these 4 levels of value. All right. So we're going to be talking a lot about the highest level. Then once we go through the 4 levels, and we're going to really harp on the highest level. And my guess is, if I would give you the 5 levels or the 4 levels right now and ask you which do you think is the lowest, most of you would pick what is actually the highest. And if I would ask you what is the highest, most of you would pick what is the lowest level of value. Now, as I go through these 4 levels, they're all valuable, but there's one that is way more valuable than the other. But most people, most business owners, most individuals get caught up in the lowest level of value, and they live their whole life in that level of value when they're ignoring the other 3. And so, without further ado, I want to just go ahead and share with you. For those of you that are on Facebook Live, you'll be able to see the graphic. But here's the infographic that I created. So there's 4 levels of value. There's the implementer, there's the manager level, there's the communicator, and then there's the imagination level. And we're going to start at the bottom. If you can, for those of you that can't see it, imagine a upside down pyramid with 4 different levels. And the bottom level is the implementer level. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by the implementer. These are the people that actually do the work of their business. So right now, I am doing the work of my business. I'm coaching, I'm speaking, I'm doing the work. If I would own a plumbing company, the person that is out in the field digging the ditches, laying the pipes, gluing the pipes, that would be the implementer. If I owned a carpentry, a construction company, the person that's swinging the hammer and cutting the wood and measuring with the measuring tape, that's the implementer. The implementer is the person that uses their muscles or abilities to make so that the business does what it does. Okay. And while I'm telling you, the implementer is very important. I'm doing the implementing of my business right now because I'm doing what my business does. My business is a business of sharing information that helps people make better decisions, and it's a shortcut. And hopefully I can show you guys a shortcut today that's going to make so that you get where you want to go faster, make more money faster, get there faster than what if you didn't listen to this message. So pay attention, because this message is a very important message. So the implementers are the people that use their muscles to make a living. These are the people out there grinding every day, sweating hard. They're doing what the business does. And I can almost guarantee you they make somewhere around minimum wage per hour to 40, 50, maybe 60,000, depending on the industry, of course. But the people that physically work, they use their muscles to make a living, they make the least amount of money. Okay. And so some of you, I believe, think that that is the highest level of value is working hard. Now, working hard, I believe, is really important. I don't like lazy people, but people that use their muscles make less than people that use the other levels that we're going to be talking about. And I want you to understand, if you are a person that is an implementer, that is the person that is using their muscles to make a living, the ones that is out there day after day doing what your business does, you're important. And you have three other levels that are more valuable to your employer. Like, we all need people to go out and plant the crops. We need people to go out there and put roofs on. But I want those people to also understand that there's three other levels that they're ignoring for the most part, and they're so important. The level of value is much higher in the other three than it is the implementer. And so I know all of us on the call here understands value, and we want to provide value, want to be a person of value. We want to be valuable to others. We want others to be valuable to us. And so when I understood this model, it really helped me kind of change my perspective on what I do every single day. It changed my perspective of how I think, and it changed everything for me. So the reason I am so busy as a business consultant, as an advisor, as a coach, as a speaker, is because most business owners only think there are two levels of value. They think that it's all about management, which is the second level. So we have implementer, which is people that use their muscles. That's the lowest level. The second one is the managers. These are the people that use their brains to manage the people, the processes that, of the business. So let me ask you a question, and that you don't have to answer it because you're mostly on the phone calls here. But who makes the most money, a manager or a person that is under that manager? Typically, managers make more money than the people that they manage. Okay. And so there's nothing wrong with being in the management level. I mean, I'm in that level, it seems, constantly, but I don't live there. I don't stay there, and I don't want you to either. But the reason I'm so busy as a business consultant and as a coach is because business owners have bought into the idea or believed the idea that there's only two levels: management and doing, managing and doing. See, here's what I want you to understand. God did not create human doers. He created human beings, and a being is much more capable than just doing. Okay. So a being means that there's a whole system around that person. It's more than just doing the do. It's more than just doing what needs to be done. There's other levels around a being. But if we were human doers, all we would do is do. And I believe God wants us to do more than just do the things, because he's given us that ability. And so I'll explain that here in a little bit. So the bottom, the least valuable level that we, as every human being, every person in China, every person in Bangladesh, every person in Russia has these four levels in them. The first one is implementer. It's the person that uses their muscles to make a living. That's the lowest level of value. And then we have another level that is higher. We make more money when we get up into the manager level. We get to manage the people that do the work. It doesn't mean that we don't do the work. It means that we have more responsibility, and we are accessing that level that's a higher level of value to the society, to the organization, to the to the church, if you will, to the family. If you're leading a family, the person that manages the family is typically more valuable. Now, not in human worth, but more valuable from a leadership standpoint and all of that. So managers, the people that stay in that level, typically make somewhere to 40,000 to 500,000 a year, depending on the industry, of course. So we're accessing this next level. And so here's the problem. When you started your business, you started at your highest level, which I'm going to get to that. I'm going to tell you what that is in just a little bit. But you started at your highest level, and then you immediately went down to your lowest level of value, and you started doing instead of being. And it seems like your whole business career, and let's just focus on business for a little bit. It seems like your whole business has been a struggle to get back up to where it all started in the first place. And so what happens is you start your business from your highest level, and then you go all the way down to your lowest level, and you start doing the work of that business. Nothing wrong with it, but I don't want you to stay there. And a lot of you don't stay there. You hire more people, you delegate, and when you hire somebody, you automatically move up into the next higher level, which is the management. You're managing your employees, you're managing the process, you're managing the systems and the people that run the systems. And therefore, you make more money because you're delegating the doing to people that are, quite frankly, at a lower level than what you are when it comes to the 4 levels. Okay. I'm not talking that managers are better people than doers. No, you have all 4 of them inside of you as in the levels of value. But the reason I'm so busy is because business owners think that business is all about managing and doing, and they're omitting the top 2 most valuable levels of a person, and every person has it. And so what happens is, you hire some employees and you move up into management, and then one day 2 or 3 employees quit, or one of them doesn't show up, or one of them's sick. Guess where you go to? You jump back down into your lowest level, and you work it, you do, and then you get back into management. And it's a cycle between management and doing, and the business owners that get out of that cycle and play more in the top 2 levels that we haven't even talked about yet are the companies that have taken their business to the next level. So when clients call me, they are trying to figure out what that next level is. They're tired of the rat race between management and doing, managing and doing. And quite frankly, if you stay in management, you're going to get burned out. And if you stay in doing, you're going to get burned out. And that's why clients call me to coach them, to help them get out of that cycle and to understand and get back to where it all started in the first place. The third highest level of value, not the most, but the second to the most, is what we call the communicator level. The people, the individuals, the business owners, the leaders, the individuals that have mastered the art of communication makes more money than the people that have mastered the art of managing. Now, I'm not asking that every one of you become a speaker. I'm not asking every one of you become either, a poet. I'm not saying that you have to do the work of a communicator, but I'm saying that as a leader, as a organizational leader, as a business owner, you have to learn how to use your tongue, your mouth, to make a living. You have to learn how to inspire your managers so that they can lead and manage the doers. You have to learn how to sell. You have to learn how to use your ability to communicate in order to get to the next level. Think about it this way. Most of you, I think, are married. Okay. So if you're not, you'll get there one day. But you were dating your spouse. And in order for you to get to the next level in that dating communication, you had to use your mouth. You had to communicate that you love that person and you want to spend the rest of your life with them. And you communicated in a way that inspired either a yes or a no. And then you got engaged. Okay. So you already have the third level. You've already used it in other areas. I'm just asking you to use communication at a higher level than what you are right now in your business and learn how to communicate, learn how to sell, learn how to use your mouth to inspire, learn how to use words, learn how to communicate in a way that is much more effective than what you have before. And so, some of you may or may not know Oprah Winfrey. She's one of the most wealthy female entrepreneurs in the world, definitely in America. And what she does, she has a talk show, she has a TV show, and I'm sure she does more than that. But here's the deal. She gets in front of a camera and just communicates. She talks. And all the while, there's several managers that are managing the process, making sure the lights are on, making sure that the crowd is sitting where they're supposed to be sitting, making sure that the music is cued, making sure everything is working properly. And then they have several people that are actually physically moving around with cameras and making sure that Oprah Winfrey is captured in a proper light with cameras. In other words, they're doing, and then there's managers, and then there's the communicator. Which one do you think makes the most money? Oprah, her managers, or the person that is doing the hard work of lifting those heavy cameras? I'll help you on the hard ones. It's Oprah. The person that learns how to speak well and learns how to use their mouth to make a living, whether it's in sales or whether it's inspiring or whether it's, talking with your employees to get them to buy into the vision, the mission, and the purpose of your company. That is super, super, super important. It's hard to get to the next level without understanding what it takes to get to that next level. And that next level is learning how to communicate. If you want investors to invest in your business, you have to communicate why they should invest. And if you don't communicate that well, you're not going to get investors. If you want to have better, more high value employees coming onto your company, you're going to have to learn how to communicate what that value is, or you're not going to get higher level employees. So I'm asking you to learn how to communicate. That's why I love DISC so much, because DISC actually is the vehicle that takes you from managing and doing to the next level in your business, because you have to understand human behavior. You have to understand how people want to be communicated to so that you can become a good communicator. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, says this, that the most important skill to become financially successful and take your life and your business to the next level is learning how to communicate. Learning how to speak, learning how to use your mouth to make a living. So far, all of you have muscles. That's the implementers. That's the person doing the job. That's the lowest level of value. And all of you have a brain that you can use to manage the processes and the people in your business. And all of you have the ability to speak and to communicate. So far, every single one of you have the 3 levels of value. And I know you also have the 4th and the most valuable level of value in you. So it's implementer, manager, communicator, and then the highest level of value that you have, and you're not using it to the ability to which you have to use it, is imagination. Okay. And remember at the beginning, I said this, if I would have told you all 4 of them and told you to pick out which is the most valuable one, you probably would have picked out implementer, the person that does it. That's the least valuable. And if I would have told you to pick out the least valuable, you would have probably said imagination is the least valuable, because I don't have time for imaginators. I want people that are realistic, that get the job done. Well, let me explain something to you. This pen that I'm holding, my good buddy Victor Antonio made this for me. It was once Victor's imagination. This hat that I'm wearing right now with my logo on it was once my imagination. This phone that I have right here was once somebody's imagination. The house that you live in was either yours or whoever built it. It was first an imagination before it became a reality. Everything that you see that is actually built, created, made, brought to life was once an imagination. Your business was once your imagination. And here's the deal. We stopped imagining. We stopped being creative because we were so tied down with managing and doing that we stopped imagining a better business. One of the most important questions you can ask your employees and even ask yourself is this question right here. If we could create the perfect fill in the blank, your company, if you're a plumber, say if we could create a perfect plumbing company. If you're a roofer, say if we could create the perfect roofing company, how would it look? That's using your imagination. And before you can create it, you first have to imagine it. And I can prove to you that this is the way God created the world. Because did you know that before there was a bird, God had to imagine the bird, and then he spoke the words and said, "Let there be a bird," but he first imagined it. And here's the cool thing about it. If you look at the word imagination, what is the root word of imagination? It's image. And in the beginning, when God the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son were in heaven doing what they were doing for millions of years before the earth was created, it says this, "Let us create man in our," meaning all 3 of, "image." In other words, they imagined you based on their reality. They imagined you and said, "Let us create man in our image." And what does that mean? That means more than we just look similar. Now, I would never say that I look like God. I would never say God looks like me, but I'm convinced there is a certain amount of resemblance because of what the scripture says. Let us create man in our own image. But it means more than just looking like an image. It means they have given us a portion of their ability. It means the whole package. They've given us the ability to imagine something and then to go create what we imagine. Like I said, your business was once somebody's imagination. If it was yours that started it, you imagined a business and then you went out and built that business. And so let me ask you a question. What are you creating? If you are created in the image of God and God is a creator, then you were created to create. What are you creating? What are you imagining before you actually create it? So when you started your business, you probably imagined a business that was profitable. You probably imagined a business that was able to give you a certain amount of freedom. You imagined that you wouldn't have to answer to anybody, and you had all the freedom, the time, and the energy to spend with your family and friends. Well, how is that? Is that the way it is? Or have you stopped imagining and you started focusing on managing and doing too much, and you need to get back to the biggest nation in the world called imagination? And so I want to look at imagination and kind of help you to understand a little bit more about why it is important as business owners to have a imaginative culture in your company. Okay. Now, I'll be the first to say, like any good thing, you can have too much of a good thing and it becomes a bad thing. This water in this cup is a good thing, but if I have too much of it, it's called drowning. Right? There's a lot of good things that if you get too much of it, it can become a bad thing. And so I want to balance this thing out. I'm not here suggesting that all you do is imagine, because that's not healthy as well. And we're going to cover that in the remainder of our time here. But I firmly believe that imagination is the highest form of thinking. It's where creativity starts. It's where innovation starts. See, there's two things. You have imagination and knowledge. Would you rather have a person that has a lot of knowledge or a lot of imagination? Well, there is no such thing as a person that has only one or the other. It takes both. But for some reason, we have, and I see it even in child training, when we raise up our children, they have the biggest imagination and anything's possible, and then we try to bring them back down to earth. We try to bring them back to realistic. That's knowledge. See, we can handle knowledge because we know it. It's true. It's knowledge. It's something. But God gave us the ability to imagine for a reason. Like, and all of us do, but I want us to play in the top two levels more than what we have in the business. So in the past. So why is imagination the highest form of thinking? Imagination is more important than knowledge, Albert Einstein once said. One of the most brilliant minds in human history once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Think about this. If you only have knowledge, you only deal with what is already known. If the people that moved from the east and went out west on the wagon trail, the explorers, if they only went on knowledge, they would have never moved. But the imagination, the discovering what is not already even discovered, is what imagination really is. And so let's be careful that we don't, in our raising our children, and this is not a child training session, but I want to help you to understand a bigger picture of it. Let's be careful that we don't kill the imagination of our children, or of our employees, or of our, people that are around us, let's embrace a little bit more of the imagination. Let's go out and discover something that has not already been discovered. Okay, so let me balance this thing out. Imagination is the allows us to perceive all kinds of information, because in the case, if we do not use our imagination, we can only understand that knowledge which already exists. In other words, if we have no imagination, the only thing left is knowledge. Now, knowledge is really important, but we would never discover anything new if imagination was all of a sudden just taken away from the ability for humans to imagine. Okay, so we need knowledge and we need imagination. Imagination is the ability to form mental images, ideas, or concepts of what is not actually present at the time. It allows us to think beyond the confines of our current reality, exploring new possibilities and creating novel solutions. Imagination fuels innovation. Now, we love innovation, but we don't understand that imagination is the fuel that innovation runs on. It says, giving birth to the groundbreaking discoveries that have shaped the course of human history. So imagination is the highest form of thinking. Knowledge has some limitations as well. I mean, let me go back a little bit. If you imagine without knowledge, that is not a good recipe. And people that imagine without knowledge or imagine without realistic tend to become depressed, because they're almost living a fantasy. They're living, too far into imagination, and they're not satisfied with what they have because they're imagining something that is not realistic. So we need knowledge to balance out our imagination. But we also need imagination to go past knowledge and to learn new things. So let's look at several limitations of knowledge. Knowledge, while essential, has its limitation. It is grounded in the information and experience that we have already accumulated. Often confined by the constraints of the present or the past, knowledge alone can only take us so far. It is the application of our imagination that allows us to break through the boundaries of knowledge and create something truly remarkable. See, God imagined a bird and then spoke it into existence. Imagination allows us to begin the process of creating something that is not already created. Same way as this pen. At one point, this pen was not in existence, but I asked my friend Victor Antonio to make a corn cob pen. And his mind started imagining how it would look and how he would do it. And he imagined it first, and then he created it. And now this pen is in existence, where before it was just simply an imagination. Before there is a house, there's a blueprint. Before there's a blueprint, there was an imagination. Everything starts with your imagination. And it's where everything of value starts. See, I don't make money when I'm in my implementing stage. When I'm actually coaching, I'm not making money. My money was made when I was sitting in a beach chair on the beach, and I imagined the programs that I would create that people would buy, and I'm only doing my imagination. But if I always did what I always did, I would have never had the time to imagine something at a higher level and then go create it. So now I'm doing something now that I was not doing 10, 15 years ago. And it all started with an imagination. And then I learned how to communicate. I learned how to sell. And I have managers, the people that help me put this program together. And then I have to do it. Now I could get somebody else to teach my stuff, but that's beside the point. So we have to have knowledge to keep our imagination from going way crazy. But instead, a lot of us have just said, employees, I want you to just do what I ask you to do. I don't want you to imagine a better way to do it. Just stick with the program, do what I said. And guess what? When you're stuck in doing, you're going to get burned out. And when you're stuck in managing the people that are doing, you are going to get burned out. You have to have imagination and communication keeping you alive and vibrant and new ideas so that you don't get burned out. Some of you have no business being in business because you're burned out, you're sick and tired of doing, but you think that's all there is. No, you have to imagine a better way of doing it. You have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to get back to where it all started. So imagination enables us to envision new possibilities, while knowledge provides the foundation upon which these ideas can be built and refined. Together, they form the basis of human progress. Some of you need to become more creative. Some of you need to imagine a better business than what you have right now. Imagine having more engaged clients and get a picture of how that is in your brain. And then you can start inspiring your people by using your mouth on how that would look. And then your managers will start implementing it and your implementers will start doing it. Okay. You know, y'all know I love to fly airplanes, right? I have an airplane. I love to fly. But at one point, flying was just somebody's imagination. Like at some point, flying airplanes was not even a thing. But one day, somebody, the Wright brothers, imagined building a flying machine. They imagined it first, and then they communicated, said, hey, we need money, we need investors, we need to have help putting this thing together. And they together managed it, and together they made it happen. But it all started with the imagination. The Wright brothers imagined a world where humans could fly, leading to the invention of the airplane. Today, countless innovators and entrepreneurs continue to harness the power of imagination to develop cutting-edge technologies and solutions to pressing challenges. You know, if you want to overcome a challenge, you have to imagine something different. Okay? While knowledge provides a foundation for understanding, it is the power of imagination that propels us forward, enabling us to innovate, create, and inspire. So let's look at what I think is probably one of the most imaginative human beings on the planet today. Somebody real in life, and that's Elon Musk. A friend of mine studied Elon Musk and wanted to get into what makes him the way he is, and he concluded that pretty much every human being on the planet lives in the world of possibilities, but we try to make it impossible. We live in a world of possibilities, but we try to make it impossible. In other words, we have an idea, but then we talk ourselves out of it. So, oh, well, that'll probably never work. I'll probably never get the funding for it. I'll never be able to find what I'm looking for, when it actually is possible, but we talk ourselves into impossible. And he discovered in studying Elon Musk and the way he thinks, that Elon Musk lives in the world of impossible and says, how can I make it possible? I mean, the dude is working on how to get from New York City to Europe in 45 minutes, and he's going to do it. He's going to do an underwater train tunnel that it can't derail, and the only way it can go is fast, and it takes you to Europe in 45 minutes from New York. He's going to do it. He says you just have to imagine and then go create it. Now, there's a lot of challenges that is going to come, but that imagination is what gives him the fuel and gives him the energy to go out there and embrace those challenges. So I'm calling all of you to start living in the world of impossible and try to figure out how to make it possible. You know, if it wasn't for Henry Ford, we would not, for the imagination of Henry Ford, we would not have cars. We would not have trucks. But he imagined a faster way to get from point A to point B, and it changed the world forever. So imagination has changed the world. Imagination can take your business and change your business and help it get to the next level. One of the things that we did in one of my companies, we were kind of at a stalemate. It seems like we were just caught in the manager and implementer. And at the time, I had no idea about this model that I'm teaching right now, but I just felt like all I'm doing is managing, and all they're doing is doing. We're not coming up with new innovative ideas, and we're not moving forward. We're stuck. We're at that plateau. And we're at a place where a lot of my clients, when they call me and say, I need help in my business, we were at that place. And so what I did is I got my 35 employees together and I said, okay, I need us to think more out of the box. I need more ideas. I need great ways of doing something differently. And I said, I need y'all to give me 100 ways to turn on a light switch. Give me 100 ways to turn on a light switch. And so, you know, they said, well, you could use your finger. Yep. And I wrote that down. Well, you could use your thumb. I wrote that down. You could use your elbow. And I wrote that down. You could use your shoulder. And I wrote all of these things down. And when they got past the easy ones, like you can use your toes, or you could, you could pick up your puppy and use his toes. They had to start using their imagination, like getting past what is known, getting past the knowledge. And after a while, they started coming up with, and I told them, it doesn't even have to be realistic. Imagination is not realistic. We're trying to create something that has not ever been created before. So go crazy on this. And so they started talking about training, hummingbirds to turn on light switches. They started talking about, all kinds of out of the box thinking. And so, and then the next week we did give me 100 ways to get from Sarasota to Tampa. And, first of all, they said, well, we could do a car, we could do a pickup, we could do a bus, we could do an airplane, we could do a boat, we could do bicycles, we could do scooters, and after the knowledge, the stuff that we already knew existed, they had to start moving into the realm of imagination. And they came up with some out of the box thinking. And so I was helping them to understand that they have a higher level of value rather than just managing and doing. And out of that session, after 2 of those sessions, I then asked my employees the question that I told you to ask your employees earlier in the call. I said, if we could create the perfect cleaning company, how would it look? And I stood there with my pen and paper waiting for all of these brilliant ideas. And so they started just throwing ideas. And pretty soon, out of the box thinking was happening. And we came up with this amazing idea of how to have the perfect maid service. And we started implementing those things. And it was because I invited my people, my team, into their higher level of value. Even your employees have these high levels of value. What would happen if we would all collectively put our imagination together towards a problem that we're having in our business or in our community or in our churches, in our family? What would happen if we get the imaginative power that God gave us and we started imagining a solution that is not already created, and we could create a solution to that problem? And so I'm asking you to not play in the implementer or the manager level so much. Some of you are stuck there, and some of you are desperately wanting to take it to the next level, but you don't know how. And I'm going to tell you, if every business owner truly understood the power of these 4 levels and would start activating it, I would go out of business. There would be no need for a coach. There would be no need for business advisors, because all I do is I start getting people to imagine something different. I start getting people to imagine a new business. Okay, we got that. Now let's build a blueprint. Now let's take that blueprint and let's actually start doing it. And so that's what I do. I help business owners start imagining a different outcome so that they can build a blueprint so that they can start doing it. That's the power of your imagination. And I want that for you. My goal when somebody hires me, my goal is to make so that they will never, ever have to hire another business coach, because I want them to tap into the greatness that is already inside of you, that Almighty God already gave you. He gave you an imagination. He gave you the ability to communicate. He gave you the ability to manage, and he gave you the ability to actually do it and to create it and make it happen. But for some reason, we have just, kind of let the imagination go and say, well, that's for people that don't work. That's for people that don't know how to work. But I'm going to tell you, all your money, all your freedom, all your great experiences as a business owner are in the top 2 categories. And some of you haven't been there in 20 years. Some of you have forgotten what it means to imagine something different, and you're stuck managing and doing, and you need to stop it. And I'm here to help you. If that's what you want to do, I can, let me just say this. If you would like to have a deeper conversation about this one-on-one, call the number that I have on the screen right now. The number is 813-580-8920. Again, that number is 813-580-8920. And just simply ask for a free strategy call with me. And my assistant will ask you some questions. She'll get it scheduled, and I'll call you or Zoom you or whatever you want to do. And we'll have a deeper conversation about how I can get you to the next level in your business by walking you through these 4 levels and helping you to understand the power of imagination and the power of communication, because you already got the managing and the doing down pat. Only thing you're missing is the ability to imagine and communicate properly what you have just imagined. And I can help you with that, and I can take your business to the next level. 813-580-8920. I would love to have a conversation with you. And if you want to, please visit my website. You can also schedule a strategy call through my website. That website is called davekaufmanspeaks.com. And I'd love to connect with you Connect with me on social media. Thank you all so much for being on the call. We have a lot of people on the phone lines. We have a lot of people on Zoom. We have a lot of people on the Facebook pages. Please share. If you're on Facebook, please share this right now. Let this message get out to as many people. I would love to work myself out of the job and not have to coach so many people. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. The comments, James Awalabi, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.